so much for coming. My name is Lonna Hardin, and I am the author of Melody Song and the City of the Voice Snatchers. Has anyone read the book or seen the book out in the community? If you have, let me get a show of hands. Awesome, awesome. All right, did you get a chance to read it? Well, let me just give you a little bit of background about me. I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I was raised partially in Kalamazoo and partly in El Paso, Texas. And I have a passion for children. I actually am a recording artist. I actually did a CD in 2006, and it was internationally released. Around that time, I was fortunate enough to have a child, and her name is Maya. She's with me tonight. And so my life took a little bit of a twist and a little bit of a turn. And so I really began to just pour my life into my daughter and really started to understand some of the broader issues that impacted the community. And so for about 8 years, I started traveling, and my goal was to start a nonprofit for single parents and children of single parent families because I had seen what success looked like for those who had support, and I also saw what it looked like for those who didn't. And so I did that for about 8 years, and I kept running around and doing different workshops and conferences, and every time I would tell someone about my vision, they would say, why are you doing that? You know, like, what are you going to do for a revenue source? And so I really began to get frustrated because my heart and my passion was to help people. And so I started to think about what is it that I have now in my hand, and what I had was my music and my love for music and my motivation and my desire to see the next generation do better. And so that's how Melody Song and the City of the Voice Snatchers was created. Since that time, I've also been fortunate to start an after-school program where I actually work with the kids, and my goal is to teach them how to find their voice and how to defeat the voice snatchers in their lives. And so the book came out in November 2016, and last year I served 100 youth, and this year I'm on track to beat that. So that's a little bit about me. I want to start off. I know we all talk about the Underground Railroad, and it's Black History Month. And for those little learners, they may not understand the significance of Black History Month and why we celebrate, why we talk about the Underground Railroad. So first I want to start by asking how many, and I'm going to direct this to the young people first, how many know about the Underground Railroad? All right, and what's your name?
Jada.
Awesome, Jada. Can you stand up and tell us what you know about the Underground Railroad?
I know that it was a way for African Americans to escape secretly, away from their owners to be free.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so she said there was a way for African Americans, and they were slaves, right, to escape from slavery. Does anyone know how they escaped? Does anyone know the tool that they used to escape from slavery? I'll take some adults. All right, well, I'm going to tell you, the brilliance of the Underground Railroad wasn't just that they escaped, but it was how they escaped, and it was the thought that they put into escaping. So what they did, actually, that was right around the time that the railroad was being developed. And so what they did, they actually started a hidden code and an underground. So the railroad really was not underground, but it was a means whereby they operated at night. Now, I don't know about you, but as I began to study the Underground Railroad, I had no idea. I could not possibly empathize with those slaves. I know the hardship, and I'm an African American, and I know that there was suffering. But because of the sacrifices that have gone before us, I cannot possibly imagine the turmoil, the fear, the rejection. Some of them got caught, and some of them still wanted freedom. So as I began to ponder in my own mind, how can I get this message and really talk about the value of the Underground Railroad and exactly what it meant, the only thing I could think of was a reoccurring dream that I used to have as a little girl. And in my dream, I would be hiding from the Incredible Hulk. Does anybody know who the Incredible Hulk is? You know who Jay, you know who Incredible Hulk is? All right. Sometimes he gets angry, he looks like a monster, right? Yeah. Right. And I would be hiding, and I would be running, and I'd be under the bed. My sister, she'd just leave me in the dream. I had no idea why the Incredible Hulk was looking for me. But every time he would find me, and when he would find me, I would open my mouth to scream. And guess what happened? Anyone know?
Nothing came up.
Let's see, what's your name back there? Layla? Can you imagine what happened when I opened my mouth to scream? Anyone want to help her out? What happened? Nothing came out. I was so terrified. I was so fear-stricken. I couldn't even make a sound. Have you ever felt like that in your life? Where something has scared you so bad, or something has happened and you really wanted to speak up and say something, but you couldn't? Anyone felt like that? Wow, that's how I felt. And so as I began to think about this dream and the fear and how all I wanted was my voice to be free, I started to think about how the slaves felt. They just wanted freedom. They just wanted a better life for their families. They just wanted to be able to think for themselves. And so that was the only way I could put myself in that situation. So as I began to really look at slavery, no one really knows the date that slavery was started in the U.S. Some say 1615, but there's other records that show that Africans had actually come to the U.S. before that time. Are there any historians here in the room? Anyone? All right. So we know that something had to take place during this time. And this is how I liken to the ability to use music. Because music and voice is about expression. Music and voice is about, and how they used it in the Underground Railroad, is to get from one location to the other. And so, just in my example, when I'm feeling scared, when I'm feeling full of fear, and I'm feeling like I just can't move from that place, you know what I do? I sing. And it might sound like this. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Well, I stepped in the water was cold. God's gonna trouble the water. It chilled my body, not my soul. God's gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. about the brilliance of this code language and how someone took the time to communicate a message that other people needed to hear. And they took that message and they used that message to set thousands of slaves free. And so when I go and I'm talking to young people, I start talking to them about their own voice and about the message they carry and about how they also have the power to set people free. And so I want you to start thinking about what is the one message that you feel, just take 30 seconds and think about what's the one message you feel like you can bring to the world that no one else can. Are you going to think about that for me, Layla? All right, Jada? You got 30 seconds, okay? What makes you unique? What makes you unique? And so as I started to think about what made me unique and what I could use to set others free, it was my voice. It was my love for music, and it was my love for people. And I was that little girl that used to sit in class, and the teacher would be teaching, and I would be going, "Teacher, teacher, teacher, can I sing?" And she would be rolling her eyes and trying to keep me focused. But I had no idea that the very gift I was given would get me through some of the hardest times and lead me to freedom. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I can only imagine what they felt like as they helped lead slaves to freedom. And as I actually started to research and become more involved, I found out that Michigan was used significantly in the Underground Railroad. Did you guys know that? All right, tell us what you know.
There are different homes that are still here that have hiding spots.
Hiding spots. And Michigan was one of the key spots used to get slaves to freedom from down south up to Canada. And so, does anyone know who Dr. Nathan Thomas is? Anyone? He was actually the doctor who was one of the major participants in the Underground Railroad who lived in Kalamazoo. And his house was used to help free thousands and thousands of slaves, him and his wife from actually 1840 to 1860. They would actually help get the slaves to Battle Creek. Does anyone know the history of Battle Creek? No? Okay, Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman both have a monument over there. So as you're thinking about your gift, did anyone get anything in their mind? Anyone? We can even take some adults. I'm sure we've got some adults who are very gifted in this room. Go ahead. I don't know your name.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I was hoping you were referring. You know it. Jane.
Hi, Jane. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So what is your gift? Or
Oh
what
my
do you...
goodness. I have a sense of humor. Actually, that's what came to mind, and I got a little chuckle here, so I'm going to say that.
That's awesome. So a sense of humor. So that's the message. So when you meet people, do you smile? Do you end in a conversation? How do you try to bring that into the world? It's not easy, I know.
It's sort of spontaneous, I guess. Oftentimes I don't set out to be. You set my mind about it, so you don't have to think about that.
Well, thank you for sharing.
I think happy conversations are a good start. And then if you can get a little humor in there, so let's do that.
So, Jada, humor can be a gift. Layla, singing can be a gift. Does anyone else have a gift they want to share? Go ahead, I'm listening. Getting cupcakes, well, that's a gift. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So, this gift of voice that we have, especially as young people, do you know that the message that you carry is significant? Do you know that? Do you look in the mirror every day and remind yourself how special you are and the gift you have to bring to the world? Anyone? Will you start for me? Sure. The question is, do you ever look in the mirror and tell yourself how special you are, how valuable you are to the world, and how your voice makes a difference? Sometimes. Can we, do you? All right. Well, by the next time I see you, can you do that for me? You'll think about it? Okay, that's good enough for me. So, today, we're making history. It's always good to look back. It's always good to see how you got to where you are. But it's also great to know what you have and the value that you bring to the world. And so the hidden messages that helped lead thousands of slaves to freedom are the same inner messages, the music, the songs, the things that you tell yourself are the same gifts that you can use to help others as well. Does anyone have any questions about Melody Song in the City of the Voice Snatchers? Or have you guys, let me actually send it around so you guys can see it. A lot of you said you have not seen this, right? Okay. The ultimate goal of this book, I told you I started an after-school program, but I'm actually working to get it turned into a movie because I want to be able to touch the kids and make an impact, and that's how I'm using my voice, and this is the tool that I'm using. So I'll actually pass these over here, and I'll pass these over here as well. You said you've already seen them. Yes. Do you have any questions? All right, so this was a really challenging topic for me personally because I could not, again, imagine what they went through. And I am grateful. This is my friend, Sister Zena from Battle Creek. as she walks in. I was telling them actually about the history of Battle Creek and the Underground Railroad. Do you want to share any facts with us because no one knew about it? Oh yeah, yeah. And then you'll share. I'm putting her on the spot. Erastus Hussey was the major person used over in Battle Creek to actually help slaves get to freedom. And he worked in conjunction with Sojourner Truth. And if anyone knows about him, he was actually a Seventh-day Adventist. And there was a big movement there. Does anyone else know anything about? I'm going to challenge you, especially, go ahead. Uh-huh.
I've seen this Sojourner statue years ago. Where's the area from?
It's also in the same area over there by Division and Capitol. It's not an actual statue, it's a monument that they named after her.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually by the Sojourner Truth statue as well. So most of that area though has been torn down, but they used to have a Sojourner Truth choir. It's really, really entrenched in the DNA of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo, so I'm quite intrigued that you guys may not be familiar with that. I think I learned it in Michigan history, but actually they used to come through Cassopolis, and then they would come down through Kalamazoo, and then up through Battle Creek, and then they went up to Detroit. And there was a church that actually was started up there, and it still continues to this day. So, I'm going to go ahead and thank you guys for coming on over today. If anyone else needs a book, let me know. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sing a couple of more songs, and then if you guys have any questions, one thing that I actually did to capture the spirit of the Underground Railroad and teach the next generation about the value of the Underground Railroad was I actually created an activities book which actually has all of the songs from the Underground Railroad in it. And it takes kids through questions like, what do you think life was like for African Americans in 1900? Does anybody know? Okay, so it kind of just walks the children through the history so they understand and they're able to understand the words and the significance and really the value of the sacrifices that were actually, paid for them. So I'll also let you guys look at this one as well. It's really just a song book. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Praise God, 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 amazing grace. now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. All right, so I'm going to challenge you. I will definitely be here signing books and also answering questions. But to all my young people in the room, I'm going to challenge you to learn history, to study the Underground Railroad and why it is significant to you, and to create your own song of freedom. What is the message that you want to share with the world? Okay, can I see some hands? Can I get you to do that for me? All right, what are we going to do? We're going to create our own song of freedom and learn about the Underground Railroad, okay? All right. And for anyone that wants to actually read the book, you can actually come closer and I'll actually read a little bit of Melody's song in the City of the Voice Snatchers for you, okay? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Come on up here and join me. All right, who's read the book before? Anyone? All right, it's Melody's song in the City of the Voice Snatchers. Once upon a time, in a small, not-so-quiet town, powered by song, stood an even smaller but quiet home. There lived a special little girl named Melody. She lived in a place that was one of a kind. The tiny town did not use electric lights. Instead, music and the songs people sung made the lights come on. Every month, the town had a contest to choose one singer and song to power every home. When the winner would sing the chosen song, it held enough power to light the entire city for 30 days. Melody would get excited, dreaming about the possibility of her song one day powering the city. She was a great songwriter and an even better singer. Sadly, no one else knew. Can you imagine what it's like to live in a city that's powered by music? She spent all her playtime lying on her bed, making up songs, big words, little words, short words, any word she could imagine. She loved putting words of a song together on colored pieces of paper. Every time she finished a song, she would smile big, and another song would come to her head. She would add a special song to her songbook. Today, as she wrote, she hummed her new creation to herself. It sounded wonderful. She knew she was a good songwriter and she could sing so well. She got up and went into the living room. Mom, asked Melody, do you think my song will be chosen this month? Melody, I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to tell. Can you please stop trying, her mother said. Melody did not like to hear this. She just knew her wish would come true one day. Her song would be the one to light the town. But Mom, you know I can sing very well, she said, wondering why her mother did not want her to enter the song contest. Yes, dear, I know, but it would be better for you if you did not sing. Why, Mom? Melody looked at her mom. What did she mean? She felt she was born to sing, and this was what she was going to do. Just trust me, dear. You'll find out one day. Melody knew about the voice snatchers who lived in the nearby town of Dark Alley. There was no light there, and they had no singers of their own, so they would kidnap the singers from Melody's town to sing and bring them light. Whenever this happened, the singers were never seen again. Because of these voice snatchers, some families, friends, and places were living without a song. Was this what her mother was afraid of? That the voice snatchers would take Melody away and she would never see her again? Melody did not say this. Instead, she asked her mother, if you don't want me to sing, why do you keep telling me that I'm a special little girl? Because you really are a special princess, and you must always remember that. This was all her mother said. Melody went back to her room. She wished she had someone she could talk to, but she did not have many friends. And because she loved to sing so much, the other children made fun of her and left her alone. She went back to writing the songs that filled her head. She did not feel like she was special at all. She felt alone, and all she dreamed of was being chosen to sing the power song for the town. If this happened, she would grow up to be a star and sing for the whole world. But then she remembered the last time she tried to sing and what had happened. That day, she was on the playground with some of the children, and they asked her to sing. Melody was so nervous, but she decided to try. She wanted everyone to know she could sing. She opened her mouth to sing, but no songs came out. Instead, she opened her mouth to sing, croak, and several frogs came leaping out. They jumped in every direction, hopping and disappearing down the street. Another time, she opened her mouth to sing, and her feet began to run on their own. She could not stop them. First, they ran circles around the kids she tried to sing for. Then the other children started to get dizzy. They screamed and ran away. Melody was so frightened that she too ran all the way home. She could not sing a single note. Ever since that day, whenever she tried to sing, the children laughed at her and made her cry. From that day, the kids always made fun of her, and whenever she tried to sing, it became an ongoing joke. They would say, and whisper and point at her. Ever since Melody was born, her mom had a secret that no one knew, not even Melody. One day, Melody heard a neighbor talking to her mother. "I hear you have a daughter who can sing very well," the neighbor said. "Shh, shh, not so loud," her mother said. "So it is true then," the neighbor said, whispering. I guess so." "Then you are so lucky. I just hope the voice snatchers do not find out and come and get her." "I hope so too," said her mother. "That's why I don't want her to sing in public. I hear they are putting guards around our town to keep them from capturing our singers and leaving us in the dark," the neighbor said. "I do hope it works. Since we are all so busy working and guarding the town, we're all too tired to sing. Soon, there might be no more singers left," her mother said. What do you think about this so far? What do you think? Could you imagine how she felt? Sad, right? Melody was a little worried when she learned all of this. She was so scared of the voice snatchers, and it bothered her when people went missing. But it did not stop her from wanting to sing. She worked hard to make her voice sound good. She even made a special drink that she drank every day to keep her voice healthy. It was made of lemon juice, stinky shoestrings, and armpit odor. One day, her teacher announced a talent show, and Melody was sure that this would be her time to shine. One student from each grade would be chosen to compete for a chance to have their song chosen to power the city. The whole town would be there. And this would be a good chance for Melody to show off her talent. Each student would have 3 minutes to show the class that they should be the one to represent the school. Melody was sure she could do that with ease because she had been practicing for so long. She was going to use this chance to prove to everyone that she was born to sing her song. She hurried home to tell her mother the wonderful news. "Mom, guess what?" she said excitedly. "I'm going to be in the singing competition at school." She showed her mom the paper. "Melody, are you sure you want to enter?" "Yes, Mom." "But why, Mom?" "Every time you try to sing, it does not work. Stay out of it, please." "Mom," Melody was near to tears, "but I want to sing, and I know I can sing." All right, dear, her mother said, but just this once. She hugged her mother. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. I'm going to show them that I can really, really sing. She hurried to her room and started writing the song that was buzzing around in her head. This was the one, and she knew it. As she wrote, she sipped her special voice medicine that she made herself. For the next few days, Melody practiced her song every chance she got. She learned the lines by heart. She sang and danced before the mirror to get every move right. She wanted to be ready when Friday came. Everyone would know she was born to sing. What do you guys think is going to happen? The Snatchers, let's see. At last, it was Friday, the big day, and Melody was awake before 6 o'clock. She could not sleep and ate only a little breakfast. Melody, I am asking you one more time. Will you please not sing today? Only if you tell me why, Mommy. Her mother did not say anything. She just sighed and hoped Melody's feelings would not be too hurt. Sorry, Mom, I'm going to sing. This is my time, and I know it. Okay then, Melody. I wish you all the best. Thanks, Mom. She hurried off to school. When it was time for the singing to begin, Melody found that she was the third one on the list. She took one last sip of her special drink. Phew, she thought. She got ready to let the whole world know that she was born to sing. As the minutes ticked by, Melody became more nervous. She started biting her fingernails and cracking her knuckles. She listened as the first person read his poem. The muscles in her throat got tight. She began to ask herself if she was ready for such a big test. Suppose her voice went away like all the other times. Everyone listened and waited while the second student played on the harmonica. Now, Melody really felt scared. What if she forgot the words? The knots in her stomach grew tighter. She did not hear when the teacher called her name the first time. Melody Parker, it's your turn, she said the second time. Melody went to the front of the class. She glanced around. Everyone was looking at her, and she was all alone. For a moment, she felt like running off and finding a place to hide. She took a deep breath and opened her mouth, but when she did, no words came out. Instead, several butterflies came out. She opened her mouth again. This time a hand appeared. It flew to the chalkboard and scratched it from top to bottom. The entire class heard a loud screech. All the kids covered their ears. Melody stood completely still. She was nervous and shocked. The crowd did not say or do anything. They were so surprised. Then they started to point and laugh. It was just like old times. Melody Parker could not sing. She could not believe it, but it happened again. She dashed off the stage and ran outside. She could not hold back the tears. They just kept falling and falling. During recess time, the children teased her with some of them saying she was tone deaf and just could not sing. Melody felt so ashamed and stayed by herself. She could not wait for her mother to come and pick her up from school. The minute she saw Melody, her mother knew that things did not go well at the singing contest. When Melody finished telling her what happened, she was in tears again. Her mother finally decided to tell her the secret that she had been keeping to herself for all these years. I'm sorry I did not tell you this before, but when you were a baby, you had the most beautiful voice anyone had ever heard. Melody just looked at her and shook her head. That's what she thought. When you cried, your voice would make the skies light up so that everyone could see. So what happened, Mom? It was then that the voice snatchers started to attack the city. They were looking for the child with the golden voice. You mean me, Melody said? Yes, you. Since they could not find you, they decided to take anyone else who could sing and keep the lights going. Each time they took a voice, they reminded everyone that they were looking for the girl with the golden voice.
What is a golden voice?
It's a special voice that can sing. Can you sing? All right. So, I'm not going to tell you what happens next. Can anyone guess? Go ahead. No? Would you guys like me to finish the story? Or should we pause? Okay, well, let's finish the story. You guys want to finish the story?
Yes.
Okay. They were told that one day the child with the golden voice would destroy the dark city where they lived. Your voice would change people's lives and help them live their song. That's why I named you Melody. Melody was puzzled. So why can't I sing now? She asked. I have tried so hard to sing in front of other people and I still can't sing. Her mother continued. When I found out the voice snatchers wanted to kidnap you and take your song, I took a long trip to find the fairy queen maestro. Why, Mom? Melody asked. So that she could save you from the voice snatchers and keep the town from being destroyed forever. But how? By asking her to take away your golden voice and keep it, so no one would learn the secret power of your song until you were old enough to understand, and the city was no longer in danger of the voice snatchers. Wow, Melody said. She continued, but the voice snatchers are still around. I think I'm old enough to understand now. Will I ever be able to sing the songs I hear in my head? Melody was feeling very upset. Why did she have a song and a voice no one else could hear? Her mother tried to make her feel better. I know you want to sing, Melody. I know you want to share your song. I just want to keep you safe from the voice snatchers. I'm sorry I never told you. Melody was heartbroken. She could not believe what she had just heard from her mother. Was she going to be unhappy for the rest of her life? What about the beautiful songs locked up in her head? This meant no one was ever going to hear them. When she got home, she went to her room. All night she tossed and turned, trying to understand what all she had heard meant. If this was how things were going to be, she would never speak again. The next day she went to school and no one talked to her. They only looked at her and laughed. She felt ashamed of what had happened on stage the day before, but she was so glad no one spoke to her. Deep inside she wanted to sing, but she bit her lips and kept her mouth shut. What was the use? She did not want to be made fun of again, nor have anyone laugh at her dreams. But worst of all was the feeling that she would never be able to sing. That was terrible. After a few more days of not talking to anyone, Melody felt fed up with the way things were. She wanted her golden voice back. She was born to sing, and sing was what she was going to do. That night in bed, she made a wish. If only she could find the fairy queen maestro to get back her golden voice. She was not afraid of the voice snatchers. All she wanted was to be able to sing. She looked at the stars outside her window and closed her eyes. Melody took a deep breath and made a wish to get her voice back. The next day, Melody was the last one to leave the playground after the end of recess bell rang. She did not want to be with the other children who teased her so much. As she climbed down out of the swing, she heard some beautiful music playing close by. Where was it coming from? She turned around to see a tall, dark-haired woman with the most sparkling, beautiful brown eyes. She was dressed in a long, beautiful gown, and she had a golden crown on her head. Who are you? Melody stammered as she stood rooted to the spot. I think you already know, the woman said. Are you the fairy queen maestro? Melody could hardly believe it. She did not have to go looking for her. She was standing right there. The woman smiled, and it was like she was looking straight into the sun. When she spoke, her voice was powerful. I know all about your voice, and I have come to grant your wish, she said. Your song is a special gift, and with it, you have the power to change the world. That's what Mom said, Melody thought. You must know you are a princess, the woman replied. I am? Asked Melody. The fairy queen maestro responded, yes, Before you were born, you were chosen to touch people's hearts and lives everywhere. You have been given the gift of music and a one-of-a-kind song, which is the most powerful weapon in the world. I won't tell you guys what happens. Only a few more pages, but I think we're coming, unless everyone wants to hear the end of the story. Okay. Melody could not believe what she was hearing. Her desire to sing was a part of all of this. No wonder she had so many songs running through her mind all the time. The Fairy Queen Maestro was not finished yet. Your voice can give you anything you want and anything you can imagine. What you carry inside can change people, places, and things. Open your mouth and sing and change the world. So the next time there's a competition, you mean that I will be able to sing, Melody asked? Yes, but be careful. The Voice Snatchers have invented a dangerous machine because they know the power of your song. They will try to steal your voice, and so you must be careful with it once you get it back. The Fairy Queen Maestro waved the bright shining wand she had in her hand. Out of nowhere came flying musical notes, shining instruments, and dancing sounds. They surrounded Melody. The Fairy Queen Maestro said, Melody, from now on, live your song. Immediately, she started to hear exciting new songs. She was feeling light and happy, like she was floating on air. She knew that she was brave and special, and suddenly, she wanted to sing. The Fairy Queen Maestro again warned her, telling anyone about the power of your song is dangerous. But remember, when you start to sing, you will become the star you have always dreamed about. Only those people's lives that you touch will be able to see you for who you really are. You must never forget that you were born to live your song. With that, the Fairy Queen Maestro disappeared in a cloud of smoke. As Melody walked back slowly to join the other kids waiting in line, she began to sing softly to herself. Live your song, a tune made just for you. Stay true to who you are. Let the music carry you. With the power to change the world, you can live, you can fly. Never let anyone steal your voice. Keep your song alive. Keep your song inside. Live your song. When Melody stepped back into the classroom, the children all felt a difference in the air. Something had changed. They heard Melody humming quietly to herself. Believe it or not, the Voice Snatchers heard the tune from very far away. The news quickly spread through Dark Alley, the city of the Voice Snatchers, that the little girl with the golden voice had been found. The Voice Snatchers began to put their plan into action. They took out their latest music GPS tracking system to locate where the song was coming from. Once they found it, they would snatch the golden voice to power their dark city forever. Melody came home from school grinning from ear to ear. She ran and hugged her mother so tight. She was very happy to tell her mother about the visit from the Fairy Queen Maestro. And she gave you your golden voice back? Yes, Mom, she did. I can sing now. I can change the world. I'm so happy for you, dear, but you still have to watch out for the Voice Snatchers. Melody was not listening. She was already singing at the top of her voice. Unbelievable things started to happen. Although it was a rainy day, the rain stopped falling and a beautiful rainbow came out of the sky. The sun began shining soon afterwards and all the birds began to sing. Her mother was happy that finally her daughter knew who she really was and of the wonderful gift that she had been given. Melody continued singing all evening, but she did not know that the Voice Snatchers were on her trail. They were using their special machine to track every song and note, and each moment they were getting closer to finding the singer. That night there was to be the final performance of the talent show to choose the person who would power the city for the next 30 days. Melody wanted to go and hear the others sing, even though she was no longer a contestant. Everyone in the town showed up. There was the mayor, the principal of her school, the band, the competitors, and everyone else. At the start of the show, a strange man who no one seemed to know took the stage. He was short and wore dark clothes and had little pink eyes. He announced that the usual master ceremonies had suddenly fallen ill and he would be in charge of the show. Let's start this evening's program with everyone singing the town song, he said. Everyone was so surprised. They had not sung the town song since the Voice Snatchers started attacking the city years ago. Immediately, Melody became suspicious. She remembered the warning from the Fairy Queen. She made up her mind not to sing a single note. She did not want anyone to know that she had gotten back her golden voice. The strange man counted to 3, and as everyone began to sing, they started to lose their voice. The little man was now laughing because he knew that the microphone was really a hidden machine made to snatch voices away. He was a voice snatcher from the dark city, and they did not know it. That is, everyone except for Melody. They were all singing, even Melody's mother, and their voices were being taken away so fast. If she did not do something, the whole town would lose their voices. They would be lost forever to darkness. There would be no song to power the city again. What should I do? Melody thought to herself. I'm scared, she quietly said, shaking from head to toe. Before she knew it, the voice snatchers were coming from everywhere. But as everyone else's voice began to disappear, the little man on the stage saw that Melody's mouth was the only one not moving. It was closed shut. They also knew she was the one with the golden voice. He gave the signal for them to catch her, and they all ran toward her. Melody began to run. She ran down the hall to the music room and locked the door behind her. Although she was trembling, she hid in a corner and kept as quiet as possible. As she sat there frozen and shaking, she remembered that the voice snatchers had stolen the voice of everyone else in the town. She was the only one left with a song to sing. She also remembered what her mother and the Fairy Queen Maestro had told her about her special gift. So she closed her eyes and began to sing. She sang about the power to set everyone in the town's voices free. Your voice is so special and powerful, she remembered her mother saying. She stood up and walked back to where everyone else was, singing so strong. Her voice was beautiful and loud, and the song was not like any song that had been heard before. As she sang, the people who had been guarding the town from the voice snatchers came together and started catching the voice snatchers. They locked them up one by one. Oh no, run, said the strange-looking creatures from the dark city. Her song is too powerful for us, they said. They ran in every direction to stop from being caught. As Melody sang, her voice started to become loud and clear. She also became more confident. She unlocked the door and walked through the hall singing. Every time a voice snatcher came near, the power of her song drove them away. As her song rang out through the town, each note flew through the air. The sound of her voice turned on the power in every home. Unlike the other tunes, Melody's song turned out to be so powerful that they did not need to find a different singer each month to keep the lights going. Melody heard everyone at the talent show saying quietly, our town is going to be different and change forever. Everyone was delighted. The mayor went on stage and said, as of today, Melody's powerful voice is all we need to keep our city powered and keep us safe from the voice snatchers. So I'm declaring her the voice of the city. Everyone cheered and clapped so loudly that Melody felt like she was floating on air. From that day on, the kids at school never made fun of Melody again. The secret was out, and no one would ever dare to try and take her song from her again. Thank you for listening. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, go ahead. All right, so I asked you earlier, what's your questions?
She should be the only one singing because when the voice snatchers come, she can sing to catch them.
Yeah, she can sing to catch them. And in book 2, she's joined by her sidekick.
Please begin to make your final
Her
material
voice gets
selections
more
at this
and
time.
more powerful.
If you need to apply for a library
Yes,
card,
sweetheart.
please come to the circulation desk. The library computers have begun an
All right.
automatic shutdown that will end all use 10 minutes before closing. Thank you.
She didn't have her voice, but she got it back, didn't she? And she had a gift, right? And so each of you guys have a gift, right? Okay, I want you to think about what it is. It may not be singing. It may be writing. It may be thinking. It may be inventing something. But you each have a gift, okay? And you have the power to change the world. So live your song. Okay? All right. Thank you guys for coming out and seeing me tonight. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be here for well, I guess we're wrapping up, but I'll stick around for a few minutes. And thank you guys each.